What's going on, guys? The reviewer is here, and I'm back to give y'all this album review of O.C.C, Diary of a Killer Cop. And in case y'all wondering, O.C.C stands for Out Cold Cops. All right. In case y'all don't know who these cats are or were, it was a rap group or rap duo that were from Detroit, Michigan. All right, this tape came out in 1994, and this is the cassette tape right here. What's amazing about this tape is that, at least through the grapevines, I'm not gonna say it's officially true, but I heard there was actual police officers, as you can see on the picture here. The members of the group was, for starters, Deputy Dog, Narco, Dank, Officer Smith & Wesson, Boss Hogg, Sheriff Lobo, Robocop, Ranger Smith, and Dirty Harry. With that being said, I'm not sure who all these cats are. They could be possibly made up names. It's been a whole controversy on whether they were real police officers or not. Now, the title Diary of a Killer Cop, it actually explains a lot. The producers who made the beats for the album, as far as I'm concerned, was Jerry Flynn. I think he was the mastermind behind all of this that went down. And the features were Big Time, Tricky, Russ P19, Jerry Flynn, Landlord, Leslie Jones, Jockey Vision, Big Ned, Frog, and DAJ. Okay, so let's get with the songs. As we can see it here, the intro scene is scary as heck as they talking like in some devilish voice, and they also saying like, you know, harassment, that's what they'll be doing, things like that. Then Major Damage is a really nice cut. These guys are flowing, they coming through with some nice cuts on here. And sorry if I don't know who the members are, I'll put who's on each song in the description box because I couldn't remember off the top of my head. But Major Damage is a nice old school cut. If you hear it, you will really recognize that it's from something. Then Ride Down on Them is a really nice cut. I like this. This is sampled from the In Vogue Hold On. So if you remember that song, that's how the track goes. And these cats coming through flowing like crazy, man, with some dope verses. And what's amazing is that they don't cuss on this song. Then I'm gonna go down to Off the Jail is another nice cut. They just talking about how if you don't want to get beat up, you can go to jail instead, that sort of thing. Like I said, it's on some Cricket Cops crap, you know what I mean? Lost Emotions is a really nice track from these guys. I believe this features Big Time, and they just coming through with some dope flows. It's like a slower tempo song, but yet it's very dark, and they just explaining how they got lost emotions, and it's really deep and kind of personal, you know what I mean? When you hear the verses, it's really dark. It's probably one of my favorite tracks off of this tape. Then the next one is called Get Away From a Copper. And I like this song as well because it just coming through with some nice personal verses. When you hear them flow and they, you know, they coming through with a nice verse. And then there's a nice sample from Ice Cube. I can't remember the name of that song right now. It's like I Get Away From a Copper, and then I Break You Off Something Proper. That's how the hook goes. It's a really nice cut. And then there's a funny skit called Rodney King in Detroit. And then notice on each side is Ashes to Ashes side and Dust to Dust side. Then the next one, Diary of a Killer Cop, that's the actual name of the song. This is another blazing cut from these guys. I believe Dirty Harry raps on here, and he comes through with some dope verses. To me, this is one of my favorite cuts off of this album, period. It's very dark. It's a nice sample in the background, and you hear them saying the system did not work. They're saying it as the beat goes on, It's very dope. If you haven't heard this track, you must peep it out. It's definitely a banger. Alias John Doe is a nice cut, and they're pretty much taking shots at a lot of the rappers that was out at that time. They're dissing Ice Cube, Ice-T, Ghetto Boys. I mean, you name it. Like these cats is going in dissing all them cats. And if you hear the track, it's sampled from Ice Cube. Check yourself. All right. Well, it's sampled from another old school song, but you get my point. The track called Dear Dad. I'm really feeling this track right here. It's on some personal stuff, and I believe Dad is pretty much God. You know what I'm saying? And they're just talking on some personal level stuff, man. Like they're just, to me, this is, like I said, this is probably one of my personal favorites off of the album. I really feel this track. Crooked Ass Cop is a really nice cut, and they flowing with some dope verses, and they just explaining how they're crooked cops, you know what I mean? And then the last one called Ain't Up, and this features some females on here. I believe P19, Leslie Jones, and Jock K Vision. I believe that's how the name's pronounced. And they're coming through on the hook, and the rest of O.C.C come through with some nice verses. Then the last one is called Shouts, pretty much shout outs. Now that's all the songs that I review for this tape here. So I had a hard time giving a good rating for this tape. So out of a 10, I would give this a solid 8.5 to a 9. So 8.75 out of a 10. Sadly, this is the only tape that O.C.C ever came out with. I guess they didn't want too much heat on them when they made another tape, so they just kind of lay low. And honestly, I don't know what happened to these cats after this cassette tape release. And it's only on tape, it's not on CD. They never made it to CD. The names that I mentioned, and like I said, it's been a lot of controversy whether they were real police officers or they were just posing at one. So because if you notice on this cover here, they got their face blurred out so they wouldn't, you know, get recognized by the police department. And I believe there's an interview online that you may find from these cats from back in the day, and they just posing and they're covering their faces up because they don't want their identity revealed. And they tell about a lot of stuff that goes down in Detroit. When you think about in the 90s, the 90s of the streets was really rough, man. And you can say back in the 80s and 70s as well, but the 90s was really crazy. And me, I was just a youngin' back then, so. But with that being said, is this tape worth copying? I think it is. And I think it really stands out from the typical gangster rap. Well, although they're crooked cops, they're saying they'll arrest you and lock you up and things like that. So it's different. It's not the same typical gangster rap. And then also they have some real personal cuts on there that I do dig and things of that nature. So with that being said, if you would like to copy it, like I said, I prefer the physical copies. It's out there to get. You just got to look for it. And that's it. Shout out to these guys, O.C.C, Out Cold Cops, for coming out with a dope tape. Shout out to all the features and all the producers. All right. Much love to the real folks. And I'll be on here back with another review. All right. Peace out, guys.
Now I smoke cess to kill the stress. When I'm depressed, I hate living cause my life is hopeless. I wanna make the change in my life before it's too late to set things straight before love turns